Hello everyone, I am Megha A R, first year MSW student, roll number MASW21R834, Department of Social Work, RGNAYD. Today, I am going to present on the topic Complex Hypothesis and its relevance and applicability in social work research. So, before going to the topic, let's see what hypothesis is. Hypothesis is an assumption that is made to answer the research question. It's a tentative solution. It shows the relationship between two or more variables. So basically, hypothesis is a statement that introduces a research question and proposes an expected result. So in short, research hypothesis is a statement of expectation or prediction that will be tested by the research or hypothesis in an assumption that is made to answer the research question. It is a tentative solution or it shows the relationship between two variables that is to be tested in the research. There are different types of hypothesis: simple hypothesis, complex hypothesis, directional hypothesis, non-directional hypothesis, null hypothesis, associative and casual hypothesis. Now let's see what complex hypothesis is. So, as we have said already, hypothesis helps in the testing of the relationship between the different types of variables. So, in a hypothesis, there can be two or more number of variables. And if there are more than two number of variables, then that kind of hypothesis is said to be the complex hypothesis. So, complex hypothesis is the one in which it predicts the relationship between two or more independent and or dependent variables. So in this type of hypothesis, there will be more than two independent or dependent variables. Now let's see an example of complex hypothesis. Higher the poverty, higher the illiteracy in society, higher will be the rate of crime. So in this hypothesis, we can see three variables, two independent variables and one dependent variables. So in this hypothesis, the variables poverty and illiteracy are the independent variables, while the crime rate is the dependent variable. Another example is eating more vegetables and fruits leads to weight loss and glowing skin. Here, the vegetables and fruits are independent variables and weight loss and glowing skin are dependent variables. Another example is smoking and drinking increase the risk of diseases such as heart disease and high blood pressure. Here, smoking and drinking are the independent variables and heart disease and high blood pressure dependent variables. Now let's see the importance of hypothesis in social science research. In any scientific investigation, the role of hypothesis is indispensable as it always guides and gives direction to scientific research. Research remains unfocused without a hypothesis. Without it, the scientist is not in a position to decide as what to observe and how to observe. So this is why hypothesis is relevant because it helps to provide link to the underlying theory and specifically the research question. It also helps in data analysis and measure the validity and reliability of the research. It provides a basis or evidence to prove the validity of research. So when it comes to complex hypothesis in social work, as we know, in social work, while the researcher takes a specific social problem, let's say as the above example of complex hypothesis, if we take the social problem as the increasing crime rate in a community or society, there might be more than two variables or there is a higher chance of having more than two variables for that specific problem. In this scenario, the problem identified is the increasing crime rate of the society, and for that problem, there are more than two independent variables and dependent variables. So, in that way, complex hypothesis is relevant in social work research as it involves more than two variables. It also helps in guiding the researcher in identifying the correct variables of a social problem. Since a social problem can have numerous reasons, complex hypothesis helps in validating the right ones or most applicable ones for the specific social problem. It also helps the researcher in guiding the researcher in right track and not to wander like a sailor in the sea of research without a compass, thus separating the relevant from irrelevant observation. Thus, the researcher can drop out the irrelevant facts from his study. The separation is due to hypothesis formulation, which keeps away relevant observation from irrelevant. It also helps in saving time and money and energy because hypothesis save time, money and energy of a researcher because it is a guide for him and help in saving these basic things. So moving on to the conclusion, a complex hypothesis is the prediction of the relationship between two or more independent variables and two or more dependent variables. It is relevant because in social work research, because in most of the research problem, it involves more than two variables. That's all. Thank you.